How's it going, guys? My name is Wilson. Many role players in the NBA today severely underpaid, especially if they're a top 3 guy on their team. It's remarkable how many average players get fat contracts, ends up not producing, taking a huge chunk of the team salary cap. With that said, here are the most underpaid player for every NBA team today. Starting in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks, I normally don't like to mention guys still on the rookie contracts, but it's gotta be Trae Young, who's the franchise player, making over $6.5 million, proven all-star. The vets making more, Rondo, Snell, Capella, Bogdanovic, and Gallo, none of those guys underpaid, and Young's easily the best player on the team, still one more year in his rookie deal after this season. I have no doubt the Hawks will agree to a contract extension with him soon. If the team can make the postseason, huge stepping stone to the right direction. Boston Celtics, I'm going with Marcus Smart, who continues to get better every year, makes progress, an all-defensive first-teamer last 2 years. In the middle of his 4-year $52 million deal he signed 2018, his passing's gotten better, making just $13.4 mil. That's more than $20 million less than Kemba Walker. I'd rather have Smart on my team over Kemba if I had to choose one or the other. The Brooklyn Nets, I was gonna say Spencer Dinwiddie, but because of his injury, I'm going with Jeff Green instead of Bruce Brown. Since Brown's only in year 3, Green has been severely underpaid the last few seasons, multiple years of vet minimums. His agent has been an absolute travesty, selling him short time and time again, but Green's been producing. First 19 games, putting up 8 points, 56% shooting, $2.5 million. It's crazy how he's making just 1/4 of DeAndre Jordan. There is a massive cutoff from the lowest paid guy on the team from the highest guys, Landry Shamet at just over $2 million, and then nobody in between. Jordan right over $10 mil, had me scratching my head. The Charlotte Hornets, Devontae Graham, who's been nothing but positives for the franchise despite not having as good a season as 2020. The 6'1" point guard, still putting up around 14 points a game, will always be somewhat inefficient given his style of play and being undersized. $1.6 million. His contract wasn't even guaranteed this season. Malik Monk making 3 times as much. Anybody who's a top 3 player on the team making less than $2 million, severely underpaid. Chicago Bulls, I'm going with Lauri Markkanen because he didn't get an extension after a disappointing 3rd season. The second best player on the roster when healthy, needs to bounce back in the worst way possible. If he wants a $100 million contract, making $6.7 mil, being the second option, it's an absolute travesty. Otto $28 million Porter, who disappears every other quarter, making more than Levine and Markkanen combined on the season. The Cleveland Cavaliers team exercised their option for the 4th season of Colin Sexton. Now in year 3, he'll also be eligible to negotiate an extension in the summer. So I'm going with Jarrett Allen, who's badly missed in Brooklyn. An absolute steal for the Cavs in a 3-team trade, will enter free agency come this summer. Cavs found their starting big man for the future, still only 22 years old, $3.9 mil. It was absolutely lunacy. DeAndre, who no longer plays defense, Jordan, started over Allen the first few games of the season for Brooklyn until Steve Nash finally came to his senses. Nets would have had a better record if Allen played more minutes and DJ sat on the bench more. Dallas Mavericks, without question, the answer is Luka Doncic, still only 21, one of the 10 best players at the very least since the Mavs been banged up all season. He might not win MVP, but putting up monster triple-double numbers on the nightly basis, breathtaking to watch. $8 million on the year. I won't be shocked if he becomes the first player to sign a $300 million deal in the future. Denver Nuggets, Murray and Jokic 27 and 29 mil respectively. 2 very underpaid guys are Monte Morris and Michael Porter Jr. Since MPJ was a lottery pick and had injuries, I'm going with the 6'2" backup point guard Morris. Double digits in scoring, the 51st pick, signed a 2-way deal to begin his career. An extension with the Nuggets, well deserved, but making just over $1.6 million on the season, only made $2.9 each of his first 3 years combined. The money will come in handy for the 25-year-old, good solid production. Detroit Pistons, Wayne Ellington, towards the end of his career now, making $1.6 on the vet minimum. The 33-year-old should be playing for a playoff contender, putting up his highest scoring numbers of 12.6 points in year 12. Now you know how bad the Pistons are. The Knicks declined his option after signing a 2-year $16 million deal, playing like he's worth more than $8 million so far, let alone 2.5. Golden State Warriors, Eric Paschall, the 6'7" power forward, strong body, weighing 255, year 2, 11 points a game, only plays 18 minutes, a second rounder, signed a 3-year contract, making just $1.5 mil and $1.78 mil after 2022. You bet he will get a solid deal worth around 4 years $70. Plays volleyball, very strong, only 24. The Indiana Pacers' Justin Holiday, 31 years old in year 8, putting up nearly 11 points, 40 from 3, signed a multi-year deal with the Pacers in November, getting $5.7 million on the season, a solid bargain. The next 3 years worth around $18 million. There's plenty of guys making more than that this season, not producing as much, will continue to be much needed for the injured TJ Warren. Houston Rockets, DeMarcus Cousins declined heavily since the gruesome injuries, comes off the bench, plays only 18 minutes, putting up 9 and 8, 2.3 mil on the year, non-guaranteed, doesn't hurt one bit, had a monster 28 point, 17 rebound, 5 assist performance against Dallas, will still have it some nights. Cousins would have been making a dozen times more if it wasn't for his injuries. Los Angeles Clippers, how ironic, Nicholas Batum, from being the most overpaid player with Charlotte to buying out his contract and still paying him, signing the minimum on a contender. The 32-year-old looks rejuvenated again, averaging nearly 10 points. The starting small forward, 29 minutes a game, 49% shooting, his most efficient season. He shot 35% a season ago. Shot looks good from the outside. LAC signed him to 2.56 mil. Looks like one of the best values in the entire league. He's actually more of an asset for the Clippers than Kyle Kuzma is for the Lakers, believe it or not. Los Angeles Lakers, I would say LeBron James is underpaid despite making $39 million on the season. If he's not the highest paid player in the league, I consider James very underpaid given his extraordinary success, but I'll go with Alex Caruso, who many of you didn't know. He'll turn 27 late February, making just $2.7.5 mil, a free agent next season. 2 years ago, nobody knew who he was or if he was going to have an NBA career, but hard work comes a long way. Memphis Grizzlies, I can easily say John Morant, year 2, making 9.1 mil as the former's number 2 pick, but Brandon Clark, 2.6 million, drafted 21st overall, putting up 13 and 6, has some monster games, 2.7 next season, and a team option of 4.3 mil in 23, a good start to his career, one of the key players on an up-and-coming squad. Miami Heat, the answer is Duncan Robinson, the 26-year-old phenomenal catch-and-shoot guy, taking 8.5 triples a game, making them at a 42% rate, 1.6 million on the year. He'll get a nice contract in free agency, similar to Joe Harris and Davis Bertans, most likely. Just like Caruso 2 years ago, nobody had any idea whether Robinson would be playing in the NBA. While Bam's making 5.1 mil on his rookie deal, Miami already gave him a nice extension. Milwaukee Bucks, Dante DiVincenzo, the full-time starting 2-guard now, was only a matter of time, putting up double digits, crashes the glass, and makes hustle plays, much improved outside shooting, year 3, making just 3 million. The franchise should be thankful to still have him since he's playing much better than Bogdanovic, who's already 28, DiVincenzo 24. Minnesota Timberwolves, the franchise has been an absolute joke of a travesty, unwatchable, terrible ownership, pathetic in every way imaginable. D'Lo and Cat likely gone soon, worse than the Sacramento Kings. Nas Reed, at least he's been producing, the 21-year-old center making $1.5 million, starting for the injured replacement of Cat, 11.5 points first 16 games, a decent outside shooter, pretty good for somebody who didn't get drafted, able to convert a 4-year minimum salary to a standard contract, will also be making less than $2 million the following 2 seasons. New Orleans Pelicans, the team stinks, State Van Gundy stinks, at least 22-year-old Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been balling, averaging 11 points in year 2, comes off the bench and gets buckets, 20 minutes of playing time, perhaps SVG should play him more, 3.1 mil on the season, the 17th pick in the 2019 draft, more impactful than Lonzo Ball right now. New York Knicks, Austin Rivers, is an absolute double travesty. Guys on their rookie contracts who are known bosses, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr. makes more than a solid NBA vet who's been very underpaid. Rivers continues to improve, plays with a chip on his shoulder. You have to respect the time he puts in the gym to get to where he is. If you were to guess who was New York's second highest paid player, you wouldn't believe it was RJ Barrett. Looking at these names, Reggie Bullock nowhere near Austin's level. Kevin Knox hasn't improved, looking like a regrettable pick. Obi Toppin still a mystery. Nerlens Noel, Alfred Payton's whatever. My god, New York's lucky to have signed Austin to a 3-year $10 million deal. The way he's been performing, he's worth $10 million a year instead. OKC Thunder. Perhaps the most underpaid guy of them all in the entire association, Luke Dorr, a hidden gem picked up by Sam Presti, undrafted out of Arizona State. The 21-year-old made a name for himself last postseason, played great defense, strong body, the starting two guard for OKC, 13 points a game, can shoot the three, plays hard. Before the bubble, no one ever heard of him. A 4-year minimum salary, making under $2 million a year till 2023. What a luxury for a heavy discount. Orlando Magic, Dwayne Bacon, the second-round pick in the final year of his rookie deal. Good improvements, 9 points a game. Will be getting more playing time now with the injury to Markelle Fultz. Philadelphia 76ers, Shea Milton, proving to be a worthy six-man contender. Third season, the 54 pick, playing nearly 26 minutes a game, averaging 15 points, a bucket getter, making under $2 million. Like many others, giving more impact than ever imagined. The X factor for Philly, a team with high aspirations to potentially get the #1 seed in the East. Phoenix Suns, it's Mikal Bridges, who's blossoming in front of our very eyes. Too bad the Sixers traded him for Zaire Smith in the third year of his contract. Bridges only making $4.3 million, the perfect 3 indeed to have on any team. Surrounded by good players, efficient from the field, a terrific knockdown shooter, does a little bit of everything. What more can you ask for from the 24-year-old? Portland Trailblazers, I'm still going with Carmelo Anthony, $2.5 mil. At first, it was whether he would play in the NBA again, not whether how much he'll make. But if any team ever wants him, he answered those questions. The 36-year-old putting up 13 points off the bench, 26 minutes. Melo's been better than Robert Covington this season, who's getting $12 million. Rodney Hood hasn't been good either. Zach Collins always hurt. Anthony at least should be making $8 million. Sacramento Kings, Rashad Holmes, with Halliburton in year 1. Holmes a 14-8 guy. His deal was 2 years, $9.8 million with the team he signed summer 2019. Will get paid this summer. Plays hard, finishes inside, does all the things he's supposed to do. Too bad the team doesn't have good coaching. San Antonio Spurs, second year Kendall Johnson, the 29th pick, flourishing under Pop, started in the G League, only played 17 games a season ago. The starting small forward now, making just $2 million each of the next 2 seasons. A team option for 23, one of the quiet breakout players this season. Toronto Raptors, OG Anunoby, a 15-6 guy, great two-way, came a long way, and now a deadly outside shooter. In year 4, playing 35 minutes a game, received a 4-year extension worth $72 mil last December, making just under $3.9 mil this season. Very scrappy, a great draft choice, being the 23rd pick. Utah Jazz, yes, I know he got a fat contract, but carrying his team for a 4th straight season. Donovan Mitchell just making $5.2 million at the end of his rookie deal, one of the very best players for his class, insanely athletic, the closer, can be unstoppable at times. We know what D-Mitch brings offensively, but will teammate Gobert bring more offense to the table given his fat contract? Washington Wizards, Ish Smith, the 32-year-old provides good limited minutes, one of the quickest players in the league, very crafty, making $6.1 mil after a 2-year $12 million deal. Doesn't matter who gets paid what for Washington, the franchise not going anywhere this season. Another year of disappointment in the nation's capital. Who do you guys think's the most underpaid player in the NBA right now? Let me know in the comments below. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, NBA history, current NBA, anything related to basketball really. So if you like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching again. I love all of you. Thanks for your support. See you next time.